Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. My name is Nidhi Sharma and I'm your faculty of economics. So in this video we are going to discuss about the ordinal approach to consumer behavior analysis. We all know very well that consumer behavior analysis is a very important section of microeconomics, and there are two approaches basically to consumer behavior analysis. One is the cardinal approach, and the other one is the ordinal approach. So, it's the ordinal approach that we are going to focus upon in this particular video. So, make sure you watch this video till the end to get all the information. And yeah, let's begin. Okay, so the ordinal approach to consumer behavior analysis was developed as an improvement over the cardinal approach. Now, cardinal approach, which is also known as the Marshallian approach, had certain limitations due to its assumptions, which were quite unrealistic, and that's why the ordinal approach came up as an improvement. So, cardinal approach basically assumed that utility can be measured in exact numbers in utils, and this is very unrealistic in practice, because let's suppose I say that uh, I ate two biscuits and I got 10 utils of satisfaction. So this 10 utils of satisfaction is something that I cannot quantify. Like, utility is something that is itself cannot be quantifiable. So basically, this idea of exactly measuring the utility in terms of utils, which was proposed by the cardinal approach, was quite unrealistic. Hence, the ordinal utility approach came up, and they assume that utility cannot be measured in numbers, but the consumers can definitely rank different bundles of goods in terms of their preference. Okay, so here they talked about ranking of preferences. So, if I speak of the main contributors to this ordinal approach, the first name that comes up is of Wilfredo Pareto. Wilfredo Pareto in 1906, what he did was he introduced indifference curves. Okay, now many of you must be thinking that it's actually Hickson Allen whose name is associated with indifference curve. Absolutely correct. It's actually Hickson Allen whose name is associated. But before Hickson Allen, it's Pareto who introduced the indifference curve in the area of economics. Then why do we read, or why do we know that Hickson Allen's name is associated with indifference curve? It's because J.R. Hicks, J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen, R.G.D. Allen in 1934. In 1934, what they did was they gave that concept of indifference curve a theoretical format. That means they brought up it in front of the world through a published theory. Okay, so they refined the theory into a modern form. So that's why we know that Allen's name is associated with it. Okay, now there are certain basic assumptions of the ordinal approach, such as obviously we know that the consumer is rational. This is the first assumption, and it's a ordinal approach. That means ranking of preferences can be done, ranking of bundles can be done. There is an assumption of non-satiety as well. Non-satiety means more is better. The bundle, suppose you have two bundles in front of you. As a consumer, you have two bundles in front of you. Now, you will always choose that particular bundle which has more of both the commodities. Let's suppose in one bundle you have two apples and three oranges, and there is another bundle which has four apples and six oranges. So, you will always go for that bundle which has four apples and six oranges. That means more is better. So more of a good is preferred to less. Then we have transitivity of preferences. That means suppose apple is preferred over mango and mango is preferred over banana. That means apple is preferred over banana. This is what we know as transitivity of preferences. Now, when we are discussing the indifference curve approach, there is a very important point that we cannot miss out. That is the marginal rate of substitution, or we can exactly call it as diminishing diminishing marginal rate of substitution, which we call it as diminishing MRS. Now, what does diminishing MRS mean? It means that as a consumer substitutes one good for another, the willingness to give up units of one good for another decreases. Okay. So that means if you are consuming two goods, and as a consumer substitutes one good for another, the willingness to give up units for one good for another decreases. Okay. And for simplicity, we always assume that a consumer is consuming only two goods. Okay. Now we have the concept. A very important tool of ordinal approach is the indifference curve. IC, indifference curve. Now, indifference curve is one such curve, like it is drawn like this, downward sloping. This is an IC. Here, let's say you have good X, and here you have, let's say, good Y. You're consuming two commodities and you're getting this indifference curve, which is IC. So, this indifference curve shows all the combinations of two goods that gives the same level of satisfaction. Okay. The combination of two goods that gives us the same level of satisfaction. That means all the points on an IC will indicate same level of satisfaction. Now there are some properties of indifference curve such that it is downward sloping. Okay, so what does it mean? It's downward sloping. If you have to consume more of a good, you have to consume less of a good. When you consume more of a good, you have to consume less of the other one. Only then you can keep the level of satisfaction to be same across the entire indifference curve. It is convex to the origin. Why is it convex to the origin? It is due to the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Suppose if we draw two indifference curves, then two indifference curves can never intersect each other. Okay? And if suppose there are two indifference curve, the higher indifference curve will represent higher level of satisfaction. That means IC2 represents higher level of satisfaction as compared to IC1. So this is about your indifference curve. Next, if we have to understand the consumer's equilibrium, then we have to understand about budget as well. That is budget line. Well, we discussed these things in detail in our classes as well, but I just want to take you through the concept once at a glance so that you can get an overview of it. If you want to understand it in detail, you're most welcome to our classes. We do discuss it in the classes as well in detail. So this represents all combination of goods that a consumer can afford given income and prices. Now, what does budget line show us? Suppose I have income as M. So my entire income, and if suppose I'm consuming two commodities, that is X and Y. So my budget line can be shown as total income is equals to price of X into quantity of X plus price of Y into quantity of Y. Okay. And the slope of budget line can be shown as minus Px by Py. That means we have a negative symbol because the slope is downward sloping. Budget line is downward sloping. It's negatively sloped. So we have a minus symbol. And it is shown as the ratio of prices of good X and good Y, PX by PY. Okay, now let's talk about consumers' equilibrium. Consumer equilibrium. Okay, a consumer attains equilibrium at that point where the budget line is tangent to the indifference curve. Okay, that means a consumer reaches equilibrium when the budget line is tangent to the highest attainable highest attainable indifference curve. So we can say that the condition of equilibrium is marginal rate of substitution between commodity X and Y is equals to price of X by price of Y. Okay, this is the condition of equilibrium when we are trying to show the equilibrium using the indifference curve and the budget line. Okay, so using indifference curve and the budget line, the consumer basically chooses the combination of goods where the slope of the indifference curve equals the slope of the budget line, giving us the maximum satisfaction. So yes, that was about the ordinal approach, or basically IC analysis approach to consumers equilibrium. And I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I would like to just inform you all that currently we are ongoing Azadi sale where we are providing flat 55% off on all our courses. This offer is valid from 13th to 17th of August, just in order to celebrate the Independence Day. So feel free to reach out to us in case of any query. I'll see you soon in some other video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Happy learning to all of you.